Vivian is 66 years old, and last spring she stopped trusting her own legs. It happened on the stairs at her daughter's house. Nothing dramatic, no fall. Just a strange watery wobble in her knees halfway up, and her hand shot out for the railing before her brain even decided to move it. She stood there for a second, heart pounding, thinking, I walk every single day, 2 miles, rain or shine. Why do my legs feel like they belong to someone else? If you've ever had that moment reaching for a railing, a counter, an armrest, just to feel steady, you are not alone. And today, we are going to fix that. Because here is the question Vivian couldn't shake, and the same one we're going to answer together. If walking is exercise, why isn't it enough? Stay with me. Because the answer surprised the researchers who found it, and it is going to change how you think about that daily walk. And it's the same question Vivian brought to her physical therapist that week. Here's the science as gently as I can put it. Walking is what's called an endurance activity. It's wonderful for your heart, your lungs, your mood, your blood sugar. But your leg muscles only get stronger when they're asked to push against real resistance, something exercise scientists call the specificity principle. Your muscles adapt to exactly what you demand of them, and nothing more. Walking asks your legs to swing, not to strain. So the muscle fibers responsible for standing up from a chair, catching yourself on a stair, holding your balance on uneven ground, those particular fibers can go months, even years, without ever being truly challenged. Not because you're not trying. Because walking was never designed to challenge them. Think of it like a delivery truck that only ever drives on flat highways. The engine runs fine, it gets great mileage, but ask it to climb a steep hill, and suddenly you find out the transmission was never built for that kind of load. It's not broken. It's just never been asked to work that way. That's what was happening to Vivian's knees on those stairs. Her cardiovascular system was in great shape. Her doctor even told her so at her last checkup. But cardiovascular fitness and muscular strength are measured by completely different systems in your body, and they don't automatically improve together. You can have a strong heart and weakening legs at the exact same time. That combination is actually extremely common after 60, and it's part of why so many people feel confused when they say, "But I exercise every day and their legs still feel unreliable." And here's the part that made Vivian actually sit up and pay attention. There's a term researchers use for this quiet decline: sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. Here's the plain language version. Think of it as a slow dimmer switch on your muscles, not an off switch. It doesn't announce itself. That's exactly why Vivian never saw it coming. It just slightly dims the signal your brain sends to your legs year after year, unless something specifically tells those muscles to stay bright. Walking on its own doesn't send that signal strongly enough. Resistance does. Now here's where it gets hopeful, because this is completely reversible and you don't need a gym, a trainer, or a single piece of equipment. You need about 90 seconds and a bed. But before I show you the exercise, I want to re-hook you on something. Because there isn't just one reason walking misses these muscles. There are 4. And understanding all 4 is what's going to make this exercise actually work for you, instead of becoming one more thing you try for a week and forget. Here's why that matters so much. Most people who try to fix this jump straight to a solution without understanding the actual gap they're filling, and that's exactly why so many well-meaning routines get abandoned after a week. Vivian herself had tried a resistance band once, years earlier, given to her by a well-meaning friend. She used it for 4 days and quit, because nobody had ever explained to her which specific weakness it was supposed to be closing. This time she wanted to actually understand the why before she touched the how. So do you. Let's walk through exactly what's missing, one piece at a time. Driver number 1. Walking is what's called submaximal. Your muscles are never asked to fire at more than a small fraction of their capacity, so they have no reason to grow stronger. It's a little like speaking in a whisper for years and wondering why you can't project your voice across a room. The muscle, or the vocal cords, simply were never asked to do more. Vivian's version of driver number 1 looked like this. Her daily walk never once left her out of breath in her legs. Specifically, her lungs worked. Her heart rate climbed a little, but her thighs and glutes never hit anything close to their real limit. Driver number 2, and this is the one most people never think about. Walking is almost entirely what physiologists call concentric and shortening movement, quick little pushes with almost no sustained holding. But it's the holding, the sustained tension, that signals your body to reinforce a muscle. Think about the difference between tapping a nail once with a hammer versus leaning your full weight against a door to keep it shut. One is a quick tap. The other is sustained demand. Your muscles respond to the second kind, not the first. Vivian actually asked her physical therapist about this exact thing, half joking, half desperate. I walk 2 miles a day, how can my legs still be this weak? And her therapist's answer was the same thing the research says. Distance isn't the same as demand. You can walk for miles and never once ask your muscles to hold, push, or resist. You're simply asking them to swing over and over at a comfortable pace. Driver number 3, and this one is the one that surprised me most when I was researching this. Walking barely engages your glutes. Your glutes, the largest, most powerful muscle group in your entire body. The ones responsible for keeping you upright, protecting your knees, and catching you when you stumble, are only lightly tapped during normal walking. They're built for pushing off explosively, like standing up from a low chair or climbing a flight of stairs, and a gentle, level stroll almost never asks them to do that. It's a bit like owning a powerful outboard motor and only ever using it to drift. This is the part Vivian found most eye-opening. This matters more than almost anything else on this list, because weak glutes have a domino effect. When your glutes aren't doing their share of the work, your knees and lower back quietly start compensating, absorbing forces they weren't built to handle alone. That subtle knee wobble Vivian felt on the stairs wasn't really a knee problem. It was a glute problem wearing a knee costume. Driver number 4. Walking doesn't isolate one leg at a time under real load. Every step is a brief, shared handoff of weight between 2 legs moving together, but single-leg strength, the ability of one leg alone to hold you up under real demand, is exactly what predicts whether you catch yourself before a fall or don't. A treadmill or sidewalk simply never tests that in isolation. 4 drivers. One quiet gap in your fitness that 2 miles a day, done faithfully every single day, was never actually built to close. So what actually works? This is the part of Vivian's story that changed everything, and I promise it is almost embarrassingly simple. Her physical therapist gave her one exercise, not a routine, not equipment. One move, done lying in her own bed, first thing in the morning before her feet even touched the floor. It's called the glute bridge, and it directly targets every gap those 4 drivers left behind. It demands real resistance. It requires sustained holding. It activates the glutes more powerfully than almost any other movement. And done correctly, it can be shifted to challenge one leg at a time. Here's exactly how to do it. Gently, safely, the way Vivian learned it. Lie on your back in bed, knees bent, feet flat on the mattress about hip-width apart, arms resting at your sides, palms down for stability. Press your heels down and lift your hips slowly toward the ceiling, squeezing your glutes at the top until your body forms a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Hold that top position. This is the sustained tension your muscles have been missing for a slow count of 5. Then lower down with control. That's 1 repetition. Start with 8 to 10 repetitions once a day. As that becomes easy over 1 to 2 weeks, you can add the hold time, working up toward 8 to 10 seconds at the top. And once that feels strong, you can progress to a single leg version, 1 foot planted, the other leg extended straight out, which finally gives you that 4th missing piece, real single leg strength. The kind that protects you on stairs. Now, before you try this for the first time tomorrow morning, there are a few things worth knowing, because getting the form right is what separates an exercise that actually works from one that just feels like effort. A few common questions Vivian herself ran into when she first tried this. If you feel it mostly in your lower back instead of your glutes, you're likely lifting too high. Bring your hips down slightly so your body forms a straight line rather than an arch. And focus on squeezing your glutes rather than pushing with your back. If your feet cramp or slide, plant them a little wider, closer to hip width, and press through your heels rather than your toes. And if getting down onto the bed itself feels difficult some mornings, that's completely fine. You can do this exact same exercise on a firm couch cushion, or even the floor with a folded towel under your head, whatever surface feels most stable for you that day. Consistency matters far more than intensity here. 10 slow, controlled repetitions with real holding at the top will do more for your legs over a month than an occasional burst of 40 rushed ones. This is quiet, patient work, not a sprint. Vivian didn't get any of this perfect on day 1 either. Her first few bridges were shallow and shaky, and that's completely normal. A quick safety note, because this matters more than the exercise itself: if you have a hip replacement, significant lower back pain, or any condition your doctor has flagged around bending or lifting your hips, this is absolutely worth discussing with your doctor before you begin. And if at any point you feel sharp pain, not muscle fatigue but genuine pain, stop and check in with a professional. This exercise is meant to be calm and controlled, never forced. Vivian's own therapist actually had her do her very first bridge under supervision, just to confirm her form before she took it home to her own bed. A smart, simple step if you're ever unsure. I mentioned earlier that this surprised researchers, and here's why. In more than one clinical trial with older adults, structured resistance and isometric holding exercises, the same principles behind this bridge, produced meaningfully larger improvements in leg and hip strength, than walking-based programs did over the same number of weeks. Not because walking is bad. Because walking and resistance holding are training two completely different systems, and most people over 60 are only doing one of them. That's the honest, unglamorous truth hiding behind that big, scary feeling Vivian felt on the stairs. It was never about trying harder or walking farther. It was about training the one specific muscle pattern that had quietly gone untouched for years. Vivian did this every morning for 3 weeks before she really noticed anything. Then, on an ordinary Tuesday, she stood up from her lowest kitchen chair, the one she used to brace both hands against the table for, and she just stood. No push. No wobble. She actually stopped and did it again, just to make sure it wasn't a fluke. Vivian told me the strangest part wasn't the strength. It was the quiet, that little flicker of doubt she used to feel every time she stood up. Is this the time my knee gives out? It was just gone. Picture the version of this that's waiting for you. The porch step you take without gripping the railing. The car seat you rise from without that little grunt of effort. The grandchild you scoop up off the floor without a flicker of hesitation in your knees. That's not a workout plan. That's just your ordinary Tuesday, handed back to you, 90 seconds at a time. Here's exactly how to make that ordinary Tuesday real. So here's what I want you to walk away with today, the same 3 things Vivian walked away with. First, your daily walk is still valuable. Keep it exactly as it is. It's doing real work for your heart and your mood. Second, pair it with just 1 minute of bridge holds right in bed before your feet hit the floor each morning. That's the peace walking alone was never going to give you. Third, progress slowly. Add hold time before you add repetitions, and only move to the single leg version once the basic bridge feels genuinely easy, not just tolerable. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need new equipment. Vivian didn't either. You need 90 seconds, and the willingness to give your glutes the one thing 2 miles of walking never could. A real reason to get stronger. If this helped you see your own legs a little differently, hit subscribe. This channel is built on exactly this kind of honest, science-backed fix. And there's more of it coming every week. And stay close, because next time we're going somewhere your legs and your doctor have probably never connected your blood sugar. There's a quiet number most people over 60 never check, and it may be shaping your energy, your weight, and yes, even your muscle strength more than anything on this list. That's next. Until then, take care of those legs. They've been carrying you further than you know, and somewhere out there, Vivian's still doing her 90 seconds every morning, before her feet even touch the floor.